enough help with the health and so forth. And so, and it's due to lack of compassion. It's due to lack of compassion. It's clear, it's clear. And as I said, it is easy for us to point finger to others, but we are not much different from that, We might not be a millionaire and billionaire, but still, compared to so many others, we are almost like a millionaire. Compared to them, we are millionaires. Compared to them, we have abundance, but still we feel we don't have enough. And so therefore, we feel that we cannot share enough, And so therefore, again, it's true, and it is a fact, due to lack of compassion, bodhisattva, why so many sentient beings suffer, So on the other hand, if we are able to develop truth, love, compassion, bodhisattva, then we can reduce the pain and suffering of other sentient beings as well. So that is where it is saying, it satisfies them with all the joys, dispel all the suffering, and clear away all the confusions, okay? Therefore, where is there a comparable virtue? So therefore, among all the virtues, the bodhisattva mind is the peerless virtues, uncomparable virtues than other virtues. It's the supreme virtues. The bodhisattva is supreme of the supreme virtues. There is no other virtues that can compare to the bodhisattva mind. So therefore, it's extremely supreme virtues. Cannot be compared with other virtues. Where is there even as such a friend? The bodhisattva is the supreme, reliable friend. Our ordinary friends is not so reliable. It can change anytime, any moment, We are the best friend today, and tomorrow we could be the worst enemy. Maybe not even tomorrow, maybe even within an hour, we might get in an argument, and then that can lead to in a situation where we started to dislike most with each other. The bodhisattva mind, you can trust on that. You can rely on that. It's the best friend. It never hurts, never harms. It only helps. With other friends, when they are not around you, there can't be much help. With bodhisattva mind, you have access to it all the time. 24 hours, you are together with the bodhisattva mind once we develop that. So therefore, that is the best and supreme friend. There's nothing more better friend than such a friend of the bodhisattva mind. Where is there merit similar to this? And again, as today we already went through that few other verses, the best way to create a merit, the easy way to create a merit is that with that bodhisattva attitude, bodhisattva mind. When we have that bodhisattva mind, each moment, each second, we continue to create merit. And so therefore, there's nothing more better way to create merit, and it is the highest level of merit itself. And as in one of the sutra, it says, those peoples who have a great merit, all their wishes will be fulfilled. The more merit we have, the more easy to fulfill our wishes, temporary wishes, spiritual wishes, and so. So if we want to fulfill our wishes, we need to develop Bodhisattva mind. We need to create merit, and for that, we need to develop Bodhisattva mind. So that is, and then next one, again, giving with an example, why this, why this Bodhisattva mind is incredible. If whoever repair a kind deed is worthy of some praise, then what need to mention the Bodhisattva who does good without being asked of him? So for example, when we are in the need of help, whatever help, we ask someone for help, because when we are in the need of help, and we ask someone a help, and someone offer a help, okay? Then when someone offer a help, when we ask, and when we are in need, and when we ask, then we would appreciate that very much, isn't it? That person's and that person's help. We will appreciate very much. We will have a strong respect for that person's. We will have a strong respect for that person's to be able to offer the help when we asked, when we need it, and when we ask. We will be very appreciative, very thankful, very gratitude, very respectful, and praise in that way. How kind that person is. How kind that person is. How compassionate that person is. How understanding that person is. How concerned that person is. For like that, we kind of praise. Whether we praise directly in the mouth or but in our mind, we think like that. If that is the case, then here, Shandeva is saying, the Bodhisattvas, those who have cultivated the Bodhicitta mind, the Bodhicitta realizations, those Bodhisattvas, not only they will be willing to offer a help when we need and when we ask, even when we don't ask, when we need help, they are always ready there. Always ready there to be helped. For this one, we have to ask. We had to ask. But the Bodhisattvas, even without asking, they are always ready. Always ready. Not always ready, delighted to be able to help. Sometimes we want, in our cases, even when we help, sometimes we are not so delightful, We help, but not so delightful. I wish maybe I could take off today, day off, instead of helping him. I wish I could have my own time, We do help, but sometimes it's not always. Sometimes there is delightfulness, sometimes it's not a great delightful, while we are helping. But the Bodhisattvas, when they help, there's incredible delight and joyfulness to do that. There is one of the great Indian masters, Chandrakirtis, in his writing to Supplementary Middle Way, he said the Bodhisattvas, when they hear someone asking for a help, such as, asking for help where they can practice generosity, when they hear, just they hear the sound of asking help, they have incredible joy and blissfulness, even more bigger bliss and joyfulness than arhat. Something is inconceivable to our mind. When you talk about the blissfulness of arhat, is it itself is beyond our imaginations, our concept. But they say the Bodhisattvas have such a bliss and joy, even more than that, when they hear, someone asking for help. So when they are able to help, the joy is even more stronger, bigger. And so therefore, the Bodhisattvas, so they are not only ready to be helped anytime, any moment, not just for one sentient beings, but for all sentient beings. All sentient beings, whether the sentient beings who have helped them or whether sentient beings who have harmed them, they are ready to, delightful to help any of them equally. For us, we are ready to help if someone has been nice to us. If someone has been not nice to us, even they ask our help, we will say, I'm sorry, I don't have time today. I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I wish I could, but I already have some other commitments, because we don't want to help. Because we remember they have not been kind to us. So we don't feel like helping them back because they have not been kind to us. They have been mean to us. They have hurt us. They have harmed us. The Bodhisattvas, they don't make that kind of distinguishing, that kind of discriminating, that kind of partiality. Whether someone has been praising them or whether someone has been criticizing them, whether someone has helped them, or whether someone has hurt them, whether someone has been beneficial or whether someone is harmful, whatever, for both of them, the Bodhisattvas will be delightful to help them anytime, whether they ask or not ask. When they feel like they can help, they can be benefit, there will be that. And therefore, such Bodhisattvas is, so therefore such Bodhisattvas, we should have a strong respect for such Bodhisattvas. We should feel a strong respect for such Bodhisattvas. We should feel gratitude to such Bodhisattvas. We should feel very thankful for such Bodhisattvas. We should be very appreciative of such Bodhisattvas and their attitude and their actions and behaviors. And, hold very highly and hold and regard very highly, and pay homage, respect. And is worthy of praise, worthy of offering, worthy of homage, worthy of respect. There's nothing more worthy of respect, homage, and vow than such Bodhisattvas. And such Bodhisattvas is that, why is that Bodhisattvas able to do that? Because of that Bodhicitta mind. It is because of that Bodhicitta mind. If we have the Bodhicitta mind, we will be also be able to do the same way. If we have Bodhicitta mind, then also when we have this realization of Bodhicitta, then also we will be so delightful to be help and benefit to others. Whether someone asks, not ask, we will always be ready and delightful to be helped. Whether someone has been nice to us or whether someone has been not nice to us, we will be very delightful to be helped when they need it. And we are unable to do now that because of lack of bodhisattva mind. But once we have that realization bodhisattva mind, then we will be able to do that. And then we ourselves will be the worthy of respect for all sentient beings. We will be the worthy of, praise, respect, homage, offerings of all sentient beings. So again, coming back to the bodhisattva, because here he's talking about the benefit of the bodhisattva. Okay, so the bodhisattva mind, it is because of that bodhisattva mind, that is why the bodhisattva is able to do that. And then another example, here giving another examples, 32. The world honors as a virtues a man who sometimes gives a little plain food, disrespectfully to few beings, that satisfy them for only half a day. So here he's saying, for example, when someone is generous enough to feed few people, in terms of numbers, is only few people, okay? It could be one person, 3, 4, 5, 10, few people. And what they offer is not, special food, but just a plain food, okay? Ordinary food, just a plain food, okay? In terms of offerings or being generous, it's not like they are feeding 3 times a day, 7 days a week, months, year, but they feed just one they offer one meal. So when you see someone offering, being generous and offering, even it is a very simple food, plain food, even it is a very few people, even one time, we in the world will honor of that person, or that person very generous, that person is very kind, that person is very virtuous, isn't it? Sometimes we see, sometimes we hear stories, sometimes we see in the news, someone helping another person, and we really feel, oh, such a nice person, such a kind person, such a generous person, such a virtuous person, isn't it? So we honor such people very highly. We hold such people very highly, regard them very highly, see them as very kind, virtuous, generous, nice, So if that is the case, so then, the Bodhisattvas. So then next verse here, what need to be said then of one, the Bodhisattvas, the one is here referring Bodhisattva, who internally bestow the peerless bliss of the Sukhada. Okay? So then the Bodhisattvas, bestow not only just a temporary relief of hunger and thirsty, but, fill them with ultimate happiness of full enlightenment. The Bodhisattvas feed the sentient beings with temporary happiness and ultimate happiness. In terms of what they are giving, it's not just a temporary happiness, but ultimate happiness, lasting true happiness. And in terms of the way they give to sentient beings, it's not just one sentient beings, upon limitless numbers of beings, So limitless sentient beings, countless sentient beings. Okay. Thereby fulfilling all their hope, and not only when they give very respectfully, very respectfully, joyfully, and thereby fulfilling not only temporary hope of sentient beings, but also ultimate hope, fulfilling all their temporary and ultimate hope. The Bodhisattvas does. So therefore, such Bodhisattvas is virtues of virtues, kind of kind, kindness of all the kind ones, the virtues of all the virtuous ones, the generous of all the generous ones, the greatest of all the great ones. And so, and the Bodhisattvas is that because of the Bodhicitta mind, because of the Bodhicitta mind, because of the Bodhicitta mind. In terms of physically, they are not different from us. In terms of external resources, they might have less than us, but they are able to do much more because of this incredible Bodhicitta mind, because of this incredible Bodhicitta mind. Because of their incredible Bodhicitta mind. When someone has such a Bodhicitta mind, realizations, they have no hesitations, no fear, no hesitations to give even their life if it's needed, and it is meaningful, beneficial, and needed. They wouldn't have any fear, any hesitations to give their own life, and not to talk about all other things. When you can give your life, then of course, giving your wealth or time or skills, whatever you have to offer, you wouldn't have any difficulty with that, because they don't have even a fear and even any hesitations to give even their life. Not only they don't have fear and hesitation, they have an incredible blissfulness, joyfulness to be able to give and to be able to do that. All this sounds, unreal, isn't it? All this sounds so unreal to us because it's not our experience, because it's not our experience. It just sounds, how can that be possible? It sounds like, how can that be possible? Because it's something beyond our experience, something because we haven't experienced it, even there's just one small part of it, and because we don't have the Bodhicitta mind. Once you have Bodhicitta mind, then it doesn't seem very difficult. For them, for the Bodhisattvas, it's not difficult, to ask and to give that. So then the next one, because of that Bodhisattvas of, because that they sacrifice their own life for the benefit of other sentient beings, not just one particular sentient being, any sentient beings who need help, because of their incredible dedications, that they dedicated their whole life, not just one life, life after life, until they liberate all sentient beings to enlightenment. They dedicate their all their lives to be service to others, to be help to others, to be benefit to others, only work for the benefit of others. Such precious jewel bodhisattvas, due to their bodhicitta mind, if we harm them, if we hurt them, or even if we have a, hateful thinking or hateful attitude, angry toward them, then we create very strong negative karma, very strong negative karma, And so that is what he's saying. The Buddha has said that whoever bear an evil thought, such as anger, such as anger towards the bodhisattvas, hatred and ill will feeling towards such bodhisattvas, against a benefactor such as that bodhisattva, will remain in hell for as many as eons as there were evil thoughts. So in some of the sutras, it says, we have to be careful if we have negative thoughts, like such anger to bodhisattvas, then we create such a strong negative karma, such a strong negative karma. And if we actually hurt physically and verbally, then it is even stronger negative karma. It is like, it's like this, whether it's a human or whether it's animals, okay? There's someone who is taking care of all the children who depend on that parent or leader. And it's like, so it is not hurting just one, you are hurting all others indirectly in that way. And so that is why it's so negative. It is like, yeah, if you take away the life of the parent, the child who depend on that parent, they might not survive, they might die. They are very dependent on that. Similarly, they're like bodhisattvas are like that for all sentient beings. And so since we don't know who is bodhisattva, who is not bodhisattvas, because they do not come with, the bodhisattva doesn't come with signs, external signs, okay? Where we can recognize, oh, that is bodhisattvas. There's no external signs, it's something internal. So since we don't know who is bodhisattva, who is not bodhisattvas, we have to be very careful not to have any negative thoughts, negative feelings, such as anger and hateful thoughts towards any sentient beings. Because we don't know who is bodhisattva, who is not bodhisattvas. We can't say. So we have to train our mind not to have a ill will feeling, negative thoughts towards any sentient beings. So that is the message here, On other hand, because bodhisattvas is such a precious due to that bodhicitta mind, on other hand, if we develop a positive thought towards the bodhisattvas, virtuous thought towards the bodhisattvas, such as, faith, respect, sense of appreciations, sense of gratefulness, like that, positive thought, and not only positive thought, and then if we actually act that, being very respectful, paying homage, making offerings, praising, and so forth, then also we create a lot of virtues than other virtues, much more stronger than other virtues. So therefore, that is what it next said. But if a virtuous attitude should arise, okay, if any virtuous thought arises in our mind towards the bodhisattvas, towards any bodhisattvas, its fruits will multiply far more than that. Far more than that means far more than when we have negative thoughts, then we create such a negative um, karma, you know. Far more than that, we create such an incredible multitude of virtues, thought more than even that negative. If we develop a negative attitude, then the result we create such a negative karma. On the other hand, if we develop a virtuous thought, then we create even much more virtuous result, positive result, more than even that negative, you know. When bodhisattvas greatly suffer, they generate no negativity, instead their virtues naturally increase. So again, all this is not, when you say bodhisattvas, the bodhisattvas is that because the bodhicitta, okay? Bodhisattva is bodhisattva because of the bodhicitta. So it's all result of the bodhicitta. So such bodhisattvas who have bodhicittas, you know, when they experience any kind of harm, you know, and suffer, you know, physically, sometimes maybe they might have health issue, physical pains, physical challenges. Sometimes they might have, all kind of different challenges. You know, they could experience different obstacles in their life. You know, sometimes people can kind of other sentient beings might not be kind, and so on. Even when they experience such a harm, obstacles, and suffering and pain, they do not become a negative. Like us, when we experience suffering, it's so easy for us to become a negative, isn't it? It's easy for us to be generous and compassionate when everything is going well in our life. It's much more harder to become generous, more kind, more compassionate when we are suffering and we are experiencing a lot of obstacles ourselves. You know, it's much more easier for us to be patient and less frustrated when things are going well. It's much more difficult to be a patient and not frustrated when we are suffering and when we are experiencing a lot of challenges, obstacles, pain. But the bodhisattvas, even when they are experiencing challenges, obstacles, difficulties, suffering, pain, still they never become a negative. Instead, that situations help them to increase their practice even more strongly. That situation, that suffering, make them to be even more strong in their practice. Help them to become even more virtuous, even more virtuous. And such, they are able to do the such, they are able to handle such situation in such a positive way, in such a virtuous way, instead of a negative way. What make them able to do is their bodhicitta mind. Because of their bodhicitta mind, it is that because of that bodhicitta mind, they are able to do that. Because of that bodhicitta mind. So when that kind of suffering happens, their patience improve, their patience increase, improve, you know, by seeing, oh, this is a great opportunity to practice patience and utilizing that opportunity. and then improving their virtues, practice of patience. By going through their suffering, they realize there are so many other sentient beings who are going through similar, even worse, and then that helped them to have even more stronger compassions, stronger bodhicitta minds towards other sentient beings. Because of that suffering, they understand it's a result of their past karmas, negative karmas, and therefore it encouraged them, inspired them to do more purification, not to create more negative karma. So it only increased their virtues and practice more and more, you know. So here the author, Shantideva, was saying, I bow down to the body of him, the Bodhisattvas, saying, I really, he said he has such a strong respect for such a Bodhisattvas. So he bowed down, pay homage, bow down to him, in whom the secret precious mind is born. So that is the Bodhicitta mind. And it's precious, as we already explained so much, why it is so precious, from so many different angles, so many reasons. I seek refuge in that source of joy who bring in happiness, even those who harm him. So bodhisattvas, those who have bodhicitta, is such, not only it brings joy and happiness for those who have a virtuous thought and respect, but even those who try to harm bodhisattvas, even for those one, it gives them joy. Such is bodhisattvas. For example, there is a stories of the Buddha himself, when he was on the path before he became fully enlightened. In one of his lifetime, when he was bodhisattvas, and he was born as one of the king, Shambetov, the power of, literally translation, his name was the power of compassion, love, loving kindness. So then he was bodhisattvas on the path, and then the five mothers and children's cannibals, came and asked for his life, his body, and he delightfully, without any fear, without any hesitation, he gave his life, he feed them, and make a strong dedications. May he be able to feed them with the Dharma in the futures and lead them to enlightenment, And then another time, again, he was born as a prince, And then again, while he and his brothers were in the forest, and they saw probably some of you might have heard that story, a mother tigers, and with the 4 cubs, newly born cubs, and cubes of cubs, cubs. And it seems like the mother was so weak and to go and find the food for the cubs, and so weak, it seems like she was going to die. And it seems like the cubs were going to die because they were not getting the food. And so, the Bodhisattva, the Buddha's previous life, had incredible compassion, he was trying to help them to, feed them, but there was no way that he could feed them. He tried to look anywhere that he can feed anything. That the only thing that he thought, the only way to feed them is his own life. And so, without going the story in details, he feed himself to save the mother and the cubs. He gave his life without any hesitation, without any fear, joyfully. And again, he make a prayers. May in the future, may I be able to feed and lead them to enlightenment through the Dharma. And then, when Buddha became enlightenment, the first 5 disciples were those ones. The 5 first disciples were those, the mother tigers and the cub, and as a cannibal, because he made that connections. And the Bodhisattva made such a strong dedications, prayers to help them through the Dharma in the futures, help them physically at that moment, but also to help. So that is the connection that make. So when you make indirectly, even indirectly, even they hurt him, harm him, because they took his life. But still, in long term, they receive the joy of the joy through his diet. And so that is such the bodhisattvas, even when you harm their body, even when you harm them, because the incredible bodhicitta mind, the person who harm, due to the incredible bodhicitta mind, the power by bodhicitta and that dedication and so prayers, you receive joy in the long term, happiness and goodness, joy in the long term. So with that, I think we concluded. And so I think, as we mentioned last time, it's not an easy practice, but because it's such a crucial and such a powerful practice, we have to try effort to try to practice, even if it's small, little, try to take, whenever we get opportunity, try to reflect, contemplate, meditate. And even if we can generate that bodhicitta mind, even for 1 second, 1 moment, that is wonderful, such a powerful, it's such a precious, So yeah, so I think that any questions, any comments, any questions? So we have a couple of minutes, so please feel comfortable, without any fear, without any hesitation, delightfully to ask the questions. Yes, Betty.
Thank you, Geshe. It was wonderful. I hope you'll return and teach us chapter 2 and beyond. One question I had, the Bodhisattva, I was kind of thinking through that as you were speaking earlier, and I thought of the 8 dangers. And some of them, it was easy to apply to an antidote if that's the case, the Bodhi mind, but some like wrong views and doubt in particular, if I'm correct in assuming the bodhicitta mind is kind of this panacea, right, for any antidote, how would we understand that specifically for wrong views and doubt? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think when I was explaining, because I didn't give the examples of the bodhicitta as being an antidote towards the wrong view, ignorance of that, because it does not act direct antidote, okay? First of all, the ultimate bodhicitta will act direct antidote to all of that, okay? The conventional bodhicitta will not act a direct antidote to us, unlike like impatience, anger, hatred, discriminating mind, and all of that. Doubt and ignorance, wrong view, those, it doesn't act as a direct antidote, but indirectly, or so much merit, then we have less wrong view. We have wrong view when we have not enough merit, okay? And so indirectly it helps. Also indirectly, when you have so much merit, then it to have a realization in emptiness, we need a lot of merit. And so indirectly, by creating those merit and creating those conditions, then it helps us to have understanding of emptiness and other realizations. and that will act direct antidotes, but then it acts as indirectly in that way, help and support indirectly in that way, but doesn't necessarily act as a direct antidote to those, unlike with some other negative emotions that I give example. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yes, yes.
Again, thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess my question is, in terms of, because I've studied a little bit of Lorig, and you've mentioned discriminating mind. And it seems like when I was reading on Lorig, that was actually something that was useful in terms of that. So, and now now obviously when we're talking about bodhicitta, it's like, well, there is no discrimination because emptiness and such. So I guess maybe a little clarification on that would be helpful.
Yes. In English, because I think in Tibetan it's totally different two words. Okay. When we talk about discriminating in terms of the logic, that one is the mind which distinguish. This is cup and this is, this is computer. The mind which is able to distinguish or discriminate objects. Okay. That one we need, otherwise we wouldn't be able to function. Otherwise I wouldn't know this is a knife. I shouldn't kind of play with that. Or this is something that I can play with, it is not a knife. This is something that I cannot, it's a rock. I cannot swallow it, otherwise I will die it, like that. Or this is a candy, I can eat it, like that. The mind, when you talk about discriminating in terms of that, in that sense, in logic, also when you see like in 5 skandha or 5 aggregates, the third one is discriminating mind, different translation, but sometimes you translate discriminating mind. That kind of discriminating mind is not a negative. That is positive, not necessarily negative. Positive itself is more neutral, but it's something that we need it. Without that, then we will not be able to make a distinguishing about different things. What is to be abandoned, what is to be adapted, what is the negative actions, what is positive action. We will be able to discover that mind. Okay. But here, when we are talking about discriminating mind, which is the obstacles to develop the bodhicitta mind, that is a different state of mind. Even though it is the same, we use the same term, but it's a totally different mind. This discriminating mind is being a very partial, and to one you have so strong attachment, another you have so much strong anger. To some you have so much liking, and to some you have so much strong disliking. So that kind of total opposite state of mind towards different individuals, different sentient beings. So therefore, so it is not same mind. In Tibetan, the one we use in logic as well as the 5 skandha is called Geshe. And this discriminating line means nearing. Nearing means close and distant. Kind of direct translation of the word itself is near means close, ring is distant. So holding some very close and holding some very distant. So that mind. But I think when people translate, we translate that both, I guess, in discriminating, I guess maybe because sometimes I see some translator using the Geshe, the one like in the skandha and logic one, as a discerning mind, discerning mind. Sometimes I've seen some of them translating that as discerning, but also a lot of them also translate as discriminating mind. So yeah. So those are 2 different states of mind. Okay. Yeah. Yes, please, Carol.
Hi, Carol. Oh, thank you so much. This was just wonderful, but it feels overwhelming in a way to take that path. So my understanding is that the easy, slowest, and the best steps are the meditation and doing that regularly as the practice and working towards mindfulness and the awake mind. Am I sort of in the right path here?
Yes, I think even though we cannot act like Bodhisattvas now when we are not Bodhisattvas, okay? Started giving our life, started giving everything because we have not reached that point. So pretending is one thing. Being real there and pretending is one thing, okay? And so we can't pretend we are there, even though it is wonderful to be in that state, but also we are not there, and being knowing that where we are, but eventually we would like to be in that state where we will have no fear, no hesitation, and delightful to be able to give anything that if there is needed. We would like to be there, but we are not there. So that is the reality. If we are not there, so therefore we can't pretend we are there. So therefore we try to walk with our mind now where we are. And so therefore, as you said, meditation on mindfulness, meditation on loving kindness, compassion, bodhisattva, even though we can't, still trying to increase our love, extend our compassions in our mind, just building that mind. Even though we can't go in the, let's say someone is, you can see, like, let's say there's someone's, in recent time, maybe there is maybe due to the earthquake in Japan, there is lots of destructions. Okay. So even though we can't be there to help them, but when you see that, you have feeling for them, sense of compassionate feeling for them, So working with that, sometimes even the way someone is suffering, maybe we might not feel that same way because we don't have the compassion. Okay? It's not even acting, but even just feeling. And the first thing is to be able to work with our mind where we can feel their pain and suffering. And then slowly, as we work with our mind, and as we work with our mind through practice, through meditations, and our love and compassion become more stronger and stronger, then slowly, we will be not only to feel it, we will be able to act it.
So the Tonglen practice would be a way also to help.
Absolutely, yeah. Tonglen is a very powerful practice to cultivate loving kindness, compassion, and bodhisattva mind. So definitely that is a very powerful technique to do that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, most welcome. Yes. Okay, so then we do the dedications then. May all beings everywhere plagued by the suffering of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth and those who with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvest. May all the medicine be effective and wholesome prayer bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever disease they are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, May I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. And yeah, and thank you, Andrew, for hosting.
Yes.
And hosting me personally when I was there last time, and this time hosting through the virtual and having that. So again, so happy to see many of you that I met you last time, and some
And
this time.
before you leave, I just wanted to say on behalf of everyone that attended and that will watch the videos later when we put these on YouTube, we really appreciate you and coming to teach us this weekend. We're sad you couldn't come in person because of COVID, and we thank you for your time, your knowledge, your compassion. You're extremely eloquent in your teachings, and I think that's very unique, and I think everyone here has really appreciated that. And please come again, come often, teach us the future chapters, as Brittany mentioned, and please live long. Doing a virtual kata offering, and we'll also be sending a monetary offering on behalf of everyone at Gampo Ludup and that attended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will come until you say, I have enough of this guy. I don't want to see that face anymore.
Next time you come, we'll go on many more hikes together.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.